Hello everyone, welcome back to Diksha Karnataka YouTube channel. Today I am going to bring you a very important video for your PU2 final exam. I know all of you are waiting for this video, that is how to score 70 out of 70 in physics in your ongoing PU2 exam. So here I am going to give you a complete guide, all the important chapters, all the question patterns, all the important topics. So please don't forget to wait till the end, watch till the end, and if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We are targeting 50k as soon as possible. So if you have not yet subscribed, click on the subscribe button. Also for all important PDFs, updates, etc., you have to join our WhatsApp channel. The link is given in the description. So without any delay, let's start with the first. We will start with the question paper pattern, how many questions are coming and what changed from the last year. So MCQs, there will be 15 MCQs and all the 15s are compulsory. There will be 5 fill in the blanks, that all 5 are compulsory. There is no change here since last year. Now short answer type 2 marker question, here you are only given 8 questions. Last year it was 9 questions, so out of 9 they have reduced it to 8 questions now, and out of that you have to answer 5 questions. No change in there. So 10 mark is allocated in the 2 marker section. Similarly in the 3 marker section as well, previously there used to be 9 questions, now there is only 8 questions. Out of the 8 you have to write 5 questions and 15 marks is allocated there. So there is no change in this column. There are changes in this column. Few questions are reduced, so this is reduced, this is also reduced. In long answer type, out of 5 questions you have to write 3 questions. Previously it was used to be 6 questions, now it is reduced to 5 questions. So out of 5 you have to write 3 derivation based question, long answer type questions, that is 15 marks again. And a numerical section, as it is, it kept as it is, 4 numericals you have to answer to and 10 marks for this. So total number of questions will be 45. You have to answer 30 questions and 70 marks is there in your final exam, right? We all know that. Now let us understand how difficult will be the paper. So first of all, we have to know that there are different types of questions. Knowledge based questions. What is the meaning of knowledge? Knowledge based question means you remembered something and you write it in the exam. Okay, now some people, even understanding based question also students try to remember it, but it is knowledge based means, suppose if you say that Coulomb's law, state Coulomb's law, state Gauss's law, state something, so those are considered to be knowledge based question. Okay, so knowledge based question are 35% of your question paper, so 37 marks is allocated there. So knowledge based questions are expected to be easier, where you just memorize it, remember it, and you can write the exam. Whereas understanding based questions require some sort of understanding of the concept. So all the derivations basically comes under the understanding based question. All small derivations, long derivations, whatever derivations you are doing, basically they are type of understanding based question. Okay, now application based question. So in the understanding based also 32 marks is allocated. This is also relatively easier because even you can predict whatever questions are going to come from understanding based question and you can memorize that. If you are good in memorizing, you can memorize it. If you are good in practicing it and understanding the actual concept, how you are applying it and solving it, that is also fine. So understanding is basically 32 marks. Okay, now application is like solving small numericals, long numericals. Any numericals are considered to be application. There are some applications in theory part as well. Okay, some derivations are considered to be application as well. So application part questions will be 17% and 18 marks is allocated there. Now HOTS question, very important. All the students are saying, sir, I am struggling with HOTS, I am struggling with HOTS. So HOTS question are only 17%, that is 18 marks. And here all you have not have to answer all the 18 marks. What are all the 18 marks? First let us understand what are all the 18 marks. Only 3 MCQs should be from HOTS. This is from your blueprint guideline. Okay, so it is not me who is saying this, it is said by the board itself. So only 3 MCQs should be HOTS. So all the 3 MCQs are compulsory, as you know that. Okay, and 3 numerical problems should be from HOTS. So 3 numericals out of 4 are HOTS. So how much marks minimum you have to answer? Minimum you have to answer 3 from MCQ, and out of the 3 HOTS, okay, so there are 4 numericals. Out of the 4 numericals, 3 questions are HOTS, right? So and how many questions you have to answer? You have to answer 2 of the questions. So if you answer 1 HOT question, HOT numerical question, and another remaining question, then what is happening? You can answer all the 2 numericals, right? So how many HOTS question you have to compulsorily answer? You have to answer 3 MCQs and 1 HOTS numerical. That is only 8 marks. You can if you answer only 8 marks sufficiently, you can score the 70 out of 70. So don't worry too much about HOTS question. HOTS question are not super hot. In MCQ section, yes, HOTS question sometimes can be tricky, okay, because it is a little bit deeper understanding level question, okay. But if they give you a standard paper, you can still answer those 3 tricky numericals, tricky MCQs, okay. 1 numerical is HOTS, but that still is answerable. For example, questions from alternating current, numerical question is always HOTS question, but that is easily answerable if you remember few selective process to answer that, okay. Similarly, ray optics is also considered to be HOTS question, but that is also answerable. Only current electricity HOTS question are slightly tricky, where you have to apply the method of circuit analysis, then Kirchhoff's current law, Kirchhoff's voltage law, then again simplifying it. It can be tricky at time, but other than that, electric charges and field, there is no HOTS question. Electrostatic potential and capacitance also no HOTS question. So you can combine those 2 concepts, and 1 numerical will come from there. So you can tackle the numerical problems if you are well prepared. We will see that strategy as well. Now, understanding the question paper. So if you see that easy question is 42, average marks is also 42, and difficult part is 21. So if you see 40, 40, 20, so 80% of the questions are basically easy, okay, only 20% are difficult. Now in this 20%, in this 21 mark, as I said, 3 plus 5 is going to be difficult. Rest of the questions you can skip or you can avoid, okay. This 8 marks you cannot avoid, you have to answer this 8 mark questions, but other than this 8 mark question, rest of the questions you can still answer, and you can still score 70 out of 70, and these 8 are also not super difficult to answer. All the students are answering, right? So as you see that 80% of the question paper is easy, 20% will always be difficult. You cannot skip that, right? Now if you are currently preparing for KCET exam, once your PU board exam is over, then definitely you should join our Abhyas KCET test series. The link for this is given in the description, and if you join right now, you will get 4 free test series, test papers, that is, and if you have to register yourself in the from the link below. If you have not yet registered for the free 4 test papers, you should register right now before it goes away. Also, if you are struggling with your PU board preparation, then definitely PU2 test series is available for ₹1. So if you pay $14.99 right now, you will get all the entire KCET test series as well as PU2 test series, and you will get 31 paid test papers in the paid test series, along with the detailed video solutions, one-shot revision, doubt clarification sessions. Everything will be there. So if you don't wait, just register right now before the prices go up. Right, now let's move on to the important chapters. We are going to see all the chapters and their important concepts from all the chapters. So first is electric charges and field chapter. Okay, now this is 70 out of 70 strategy, so definitely there will be slightly more than whatever we have did in the marathon session, because here we cannot take any chances in 70 out. That was my risk. Now this is not my risk. If you want to score 70, if you follow this video, definitely you score 70 marks. Now this is a high weighted chapter. What is the meaning of high weightage chapter? More than 10 marks comes from this chapter. So that is why it is a high weightage chapter. All sorts of questions, 1 marker, 2 marker, 3 marker, 5 marker, 5 marker numerical, everything is important from this chapter. So must practice numericals from this chapter, even though this is no guarantee that a numerical will come from this chapter, but it is guaranteed that either a 5 marker derivation question or a 5 marker numerical question will come from this chapter. This chapter is pair with the next chapter, electrostatic potential and capacitance. So one of the chapters from the next chapter and this chapter, one numerical question and one derivation question is sure shot. So don't miss that. You have to study this chapter thoroughly. What are all the important concepts? Coulomb's law, properties of charge, properties of electric field, torque on an electric dipole, Gauss's law, electric field due to a point charge, force on a point charge, electric field due to a charge plate, electric field due to a dipole in two positions, electric field due to a long straight wire, electric field due to a spherical shell outside the shell. So these are all the important concepts from this chapter. In my opinion, these two are the very most important concepts. This is an optional. If you have time, you should revise this as well. Okay, but these two you cannot skip. These two you have to complete. Okay, now this is a very high weighted chapter, so you have to finish the chapter as quickly as possible. Next is electrostatic potential and capacitance. As I said, this chapter and electric field chapter, there comes in pair. Pair means either derivation or numerical will come from this chapter. Now if derivation is coming from this chapter, then numerical will come from electric field chapter. If a derivation is coming from electric field chapter, then a numerical will come from this chapter. Now last year derivation came from this chapter and numerical question came from electric field chapter. So this year probably maybe there is a chance that they reverse it, but there is no guarantee. I cannot guarantee that. Both chapters are important. This is also a high weighted chapter. 10 to 11 marks is given across all three blueprints. So very high weighted chapter and you cannot skip it. So important concept: electric potential, equipotential surface, electrostatics of conductors, torque on an electric dipole, polar and non-polar molecules, applications, potential energy of a system of charge, capacitance in series and parallel, energy stored in a capacitor. They are all application based questions. Now derivations, relationship between E and V. This is a small 3 marker derivation, but that is also super important, right? Even 3 marker derivations are important. Next, electrostatic potential due to a point charge, capacitance of parallel plate capacitor, potential due to a dipole, potential energy of a dipole in an external field. Now this is very important. Okay, electric potential due to a point charge is very important. Capacitance is very important. This is also very important. This is optional. If you have time, you can revise this. Okay. So this is also important for your numerical questions. So you have to practice numericals. All the derivation formulas are important for numerical questions. So even if you are skipping this chapter, this problem, maybe there is a numerical question based on this concept, so you cannot skip any of them. Next is current electricity, another very high weighted chapter. 13 marks is allocated to this chapter. From this chapter, one numerical as well as one derivation is coming. So it is from this chapter 5 marks derivation as well as 5 marks numerical is very likely to come from this chapter. This is a very high weightage important chapter. Now for me personally as a teacher, I don't recommend this chapter for your numerical problems unless you are super confident you have solved at least like 30 to 40 different types of circuit theory based questions. Then you should not attempt numericals from this chapter for your PU board. This chapter is important for your KCET exam as well. So you have to study this chapter. There is no other way. But if you have that confidence that I have successfully solved 30 to 40 circuit theory based questions, applying KCL, applying KVL, then you can try the numerical from this chapter as well. Or first stage is to clear all the NCERT numerical from this chapter. But I personally do not recommend to my students because I feel that this is slightly higher. This is for the toppers. If you are a topper, then definitely you should practice numericals from this chapter. This clears your brain anyway. Now what are all the concepts? Drift, velocity, mobility, relaxation time, they are all there interrelated. All the relationship between them is very, very important. Ohm's law and its limitation, current and current density, okay, the relationship between current and electric field and current density, electric power, resistivity, they are all important concepts. Application, resistance of a conductor, Kirchhoff's laws, energy stored in a capacitor, sorry, this is from the last chapter. Cells in series and parallel, very, very important, and Wheatstone bridge. These are the three derivations most commonly asked from this chapter, so you cannot skip any of them. Both derivations, three derivations are important from this chapter, and as you can see from here, you can expect numerical as well as a derivation. So high weightage numerical should come from this chapter. Next is moving charges and magnetism. It is also a high weightage chapter, about 9 to 10 marks also allocated to this chapter. Now what are all the important concepts? Lorentz force, motion of a charge in a magnetic field, Biot-Savart's law, galvanometer, ammeter and galvanometer conversion. Okay, ammeter and galvanometer conversion is actually not a concept, it is actually an application. Solenoid, application part, solenoid, circular current loop in a magnetic dipole, Ampere's law, derivation, magnetic field on the axis of a circular current loop, very, very, very important. This is very, very, very important. Force between parallel wires, very, very important. Torque on a rectangular current loop, also important. So these are the important concepts from this chapter. High weighted chapter, a 5-marker derivation is expected from this chapter, right? So all three blueprint almost have a 5-marker question from this chapter. Now magnetism and matter, this is a medium weighted chapter, 5 to 6 marks comes from this chapter. Only 2-marker, 3-marker and 1-marker, and if I fill in the blanks type question comes from this chapter. So there is no super high heavy derivation from this chapter. So this is an easy chapter, and some concepts are deleted also. So what are all the concepts? Properties of magnetic field lines, Gauss's law, very, very important, properties of magnetic field lines. Gauss's law of magnetism, magnetization, magnetic susceptibility, magnetic permeability. Application, the magnetic dipole in a uniform magnetic field, paramagnet, diamagnet, ferromagnet, they are respective, all the property table, very, very important for this chapter. Next is electromagnetic induction or EMI. This is also a medium weighted chapter, 6-7 marks possibly come from this chapter. From this chapter there is expected a HOTS MCQ question. 2 out of 3 blueprints have given HOTS question for MCQ from this chapter. Faraday and Lenz's law in induction, both are important, inductance, self and mutual inductance, okay, including their mathematical expressions. Now application part, Faraday's coil magnet experiment, AC generator, okay, then we have motional electromotive force, small 3-marker derivation. This is also important, okay. Now alternating current, a medium weighted chapter, but this chapter is important for numericals. So this is another recommendation from my side for your numerical questions. From this chapter almost a guaranteed numerical will come, and the pattern is fixed. 3 to 4 different patterns are there. If you practice them, then you can solve any numerical question from this chapter, okay. Impedance, calculate impedance, calculate phase difference, okay, calculate the resonance frequency. So these are the common question from this chapter, okay. What is the resonance, what is the impedance at resonance? So these are the main thing, and first of all you need to know few formulas, XL, XC, okay, and other than that XL, XC, what is Z, what is phi, and how to calculate resonance. If you remember these 4-5 patterns, then definitely you can solve all the questions from this chapter. So important concept, RMS voltage and current, AC power, power factor. Then we have applications. Application part is AC applied to a resistor, inductor and capacitor. So these are all the formulas that I said. Series LCR, impedance, voltage, phase, current and resonance. These are all the important concepts from this chapter. No derivation comes from this chapter, but a 5-mark numerical will be coming from this chapter. If you practice a few selective questions, you can answer that questions easily. Now ray optics, another high weighted chapter, 11 marks is allocated from this chapter. What are all you can expect from this chapter? There is a high chance of both derivation as well as a numerical question comes from this chapter. This is like current electricity, but there is no guarantee that numerical question and derivation both will come, but there is a high chance both will come in your PU final exam. Okay, so total internal reflection, sign convention in mirrors and lens, either of them both will have the same thing writing, but the diagram will be different. Telescope, microscope, their how their magnification works, so etc. This is also very, very important concept. Now application part, prove that F is equal to R by 2, mirror and lens equations, related problems, power of a lens, what is the relationship between power and the focal length. Now derivation, refraction through a spherical surface. Now I did that in the past, but right now I think lens maker's equation is the most important from this chapter, and then this refractive index of a prism, angle of minimum deviation. These two are very, very important derivation. This is also a less important, but if you have time, if you get time, you can study that as well. Now let's move on to the wave optics chapter, medium weightage chapter, Huygens principle, coherent and incoherent sources, interference of Young's double slit experiment, condition for maximum and minima, diffraction condition for maximum and minima, derivation, refraction of plane wave, Snell's law, reflection of plane wave, laws of reflection. These two derivations are very, very important from this chapter. Okay, we are expecting at least a 5-mark derivation from this chapter as well. Okay. Now, dual nature of radiation and matter, this is also a medium weighted chapter. There is a small chance of numerical from this chapter instead of ray optics, because in one of the blueprint there is a numerical question from this chapter, but numerical question, if this comes from this chapter, that should be very, very easy. Only one formula based question will come. There is only one formula in the entire chapter. There are different variation of the same formula. Based on what is asked, you can solve the numericals from this chapter. Okay, we will do that in our revision session. If you have if you want to check that session, there I will be solving few extra numericals from this chapter. Now photoelectric effect, observations, photoelectric effect, Einstein's explanation, effect of potential on the photoelectric current, particle nature of light, photoelectric equation, de Broglie wavelength. So these are all the important concepts from this chapter. No derivation comes from this chapter. Now semiconductor, a medium weighted chapter, but a 5-marker will come from this chapter. Okay, 5-marker, a long answer type, derivation type question will definitely come from this chapter. Okay, so band theory, intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor are important concept, p type and n type semiconductors, then junction diode, they are the application based questions. Now in the derivation, most likely half wave and full wave rectifier will come, but lately in the pre-board, while doing the pre-board part, I saw some band theory of solids based on the band theory, distinguish between proton and sorry, not electron, metal, non-metal and semiconductors. So that is one question that I have seen in the pre-board series. So basically if you get time, you can prepare that as well, but in most of the recent years, okay, almost every year either half wave or full wave comes, but last back-to-back years full wave rectifier came. So there is a chance that either half wave will come this year, maybe full wave they repeat it, but there is a small chance of band theory of solids also there. I will cover that in our revision video. Don't worry if you have not yet studied that. Now there are some low weighted chapters. Actually there are 3 low weighted chapters: EM waves, atoms and nuclei. 3 to 4 marks maximum comes from this chapter, but there are some important concepts, so I am going to discuss that well. Application of different types of waves, all the application of radio waves, application of UV waves, UV rays, application of microwaves. Based on that, on MCQs and 2-marker question might come from this chapter. Expression for displacement current, what is displacement current, so that is also important from this EMF chapter. Atoms chapter, Rutherford model and its drawback, Bohr's postulate and drawback. Now energy of electron in Bohr's orbit and de Broglie explanation. These are the important concepts from atoms chapter. In the nuclei chapter, there is a highly probability that there is a 3-marker numerical question will come from this chapter. Okay, there are 2-marker numerical question as well. 1 2-marker numerical question will also come, but that is not very easily predictable. but in the 3 marker section it is easily predictable. Most likely there will be a 3 marker numerical from this chapter. Other than that, binding energy curve related questions and fission and fusion related questions are important from this chapter. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and I hope that it will help you to score 70 out of 70. In any case, if you need any other assistance, you can check my full revision video where I will be doing complete revision of your PU board syllabus in just few hours. So till then, bye.